The secret to Long Beach is a good initiation. This course is all about momentum, hitting your mark, being calm, cool, collected, and precise. And where we actually start drifting is this break in the wall. So in Formula Drift, you have like a last initiation point. And initiation's, you know, when we get the car sideways. So the break in that wall is the last initiation point. So really, in order to do this corner, the entry corner right, you have to have the car already spinning tire, facing the opposite direction, and throw it into that break in the wall. You can see some of the tire lights, you know, they go wider than the wall and then get on the wall. And if you blow the entry, the whole run's blown. That's it. So you really have to be all the way wide, get on the throttle right about here, and be on the throttle all the way out to the wall. And the reason why this is so scary is because this is a blind corner. You can't see anything but tires.
I did notice that when I was in there. I was like, Jesus!
Yeah, so every corner here is a blind corner. You can't see anything.
Okay, so how does your strategy change then when you're the lead car and when you're the chase car?
So really, the strategy with lead versus follow, it changes hugely, right? When you're out front, you have the clean air. The goal is to run a 100-point qualifying run. Yep. And what that means is you get your entry done, you get out to the touch and go really well, right? Or the zone one, sorry, that's zone one. You have to put your bumper on the wall, put your bumper on every single wall, tons of smoke, tons of angle, tons of excitement. 100 points, right?
Yep.
And then when you're in the chase run, you're really trying to mimic the lead car. The whole point of it is to be everywhere they go. If they go wide out to this wall, you gotta be there. If they wind up in the middle of the track, well, you're supposed to follow them, right? So it's a totally different strategy. It's a totally different way of driving. A perfect example is in the lead position, I'll only use the handbrake in 2 places.
Oh, really?
Right there on entry, and then in the last corner. That's it. But in the follow position, I might use the handbrake 6 times before we even get under the bridge.
Wow.
Just depends on the car, depends on the driver, depends on the time of day. It's just, everything is different. But the goal is always bully them, push them around the track, and then when you're out in front, run a 100-point qualifying run.
So one thing that I've noticed here is, oh my God, my shoes are just sticking.
Yeah.
Like, oh
we haven't even got
God.
to, there is the sticky point right
really?
there. Yeah.
Come on, well, we gotta check that out.
Here is the sticky point. I mean, look, it gets stickier and stickier because you can see where guys are entering and they're on the brakes, and right here, they're really picking up the throttle, and you are on power out to the wall.
And then as more are going by, it's gonna get darker and darker and stickier, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you compensate for that? I mean, how does this compare to Irwindale?
Oh man, the differences couldn't be more huge from here to Irwindale. A street track which has garbage and rubber buildup and K-wall, and we're walking through a parking lot right now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it looks like a race course, but this is a parking lot. Versus a track that's raced on every week, basically year-round at Irwindale.
Indy as well,
yeah. And there is a ton of rubber on the track. There is the proper cleaning, it's the proper asphalt, you know, it's very different. And probably the biggest difference is just a bank versus a flat track. You see here at Long Beach, it's completely flat, right?
Yeah.
At Irwindale, there's a big bank. So the car setup is different, our alignment is different, our strategy is different.
Yep.
Like here at Long Beach, it's all about a balance of grip, but also fluidity. You have to have a smooth, easy to drive car. At Irwindale, it's like you throw the kitchen sink at it and you just figure out how to drive it.
So in terms of gears, like which gear do you actually spend the most time in?
Right, so 1-to-1 is usually like 4th gear on a normal transmission.
Yep.
So most of the time you're always in that 1-to-1 gear ratio. Every car out here has a different type of gearbox, right? But at the end of the day, you're almost always in that 1-to-1 through here, and then you'll do, which is usually 3rd or 4th gear, and then you kind of spend most of your time there.
Yeah. What about weight ratio of your car?
So me driving a Corvette, one of the huge benefits of it is that it's 50-50.
Oh, okay.
So 50% in the front, 50% in the back. But most of the cars out here are a little bit front heavy.
Okay. Yeah. They say that some of the secret sauce is all in the suspension. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, it is one of those things that takes a lot of time developing, and you also have to develop yourself as a driver to figure out what you do and don't like. We're at the time in drifting where there's enough information out there that somebody who has no clue what they're doing can do some research, talk to some people, put those settings on the car, and basically make it around the track. When I started, and especially when I was developing the Corvette chassis, there was no one to ask. You couldn't just call up a suspension manufacturer and have them give you all the details and the settings and this and that. So for me, it's something that I nerd out on. I'm a big nerd when it comes to suspension.
I don't believe that. You cannot be a nerd.
A big nerd. I care about this camber and this, and I want to try this and Ackerman, and I spend a lot of time nerding out on that, but it's something that I like, so I'm happy to do it.
So we know that 2021 was tough for you because, of course, entry into Long Beach, you were in the lead and you had a suspension failure. Anything else that you can take from that race from last year that you can really put to practice this year from what you've learned?
So for me, I felt that we had a winning car from the first lap out of the trailer.
Yep.
And that last lap in battle, I still felt we had a winning car.
Yep.
I was driving the best that I've ever driven at Long Beach, hands down. So coming into this weekend, I'm just gonna not let what happened last time happen. We're gonna try our best to keep it reliable. And that was one of the big things that I did during the off season was try to improve the reliability.
Yeah, okay.
It's motorsport, stuff happens. I have some new guys on the crew, so that's a learning experience in its own. But at the end of the day, we're only as good as our team, only as good as our crew, and we just hope that the car holds together because we do our best. It's not like we're like, that's messed up, but I'm gonna leave it. No, we don't leave it. We fix everything, but we will see if it holds together.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you for that.
You know that they say it always takes a village, right?
Yeah.
You can't do this by yourself. You can't be on an island. Can you tell us a little bit about your crew?
Yeah, so my spotter, who's one of the most important people in my crew, is also my business partner at Drift Cave, as well as the guy who's been spotting for me since day one. So ever since 2011, he's been the same spotter, and for me, that's super important.
Yeah.
I have a crew chief. His name is Andy. He's the new one this year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a learning experience because the crew chief is incredibly important, 100%. And then I have this guy named Brian, nicknamed Ripper.
Ripper?
Dude is awesome, definitely. He's like the tires and fuels, and he drives the rigs, and he kind of keeps the pit space organized and yells at people when he needs to, and that. And then I have a guy, Rye, and Rye is really like the kind of the second spotter. He's like the drift nerd, right? He knows everything.
More than you. All right.
I don't watch drifting anymore. I don't at all. I only watch Formula Drift and the runs here, but I don't like watch drift videos anymore.
Okay.
I watch dirt bike videos now. That's what I do.
All right.
But he's the guy who like pays attention to drifting, really understands how a car moves, how a car works, what works good, what did I do as a driver.
Yeah.
So for him, he's like one of the backbone dudes of the crew who throws down. He's a guy who's everywhere, does anything he needs to, but then he'll also like bounce ideas off me kind of offline on the radio. When I get out of the car, he's like pleasantly reminding me things, so it's good. But that's my core crew, but that is just my crew. We still have crew for Eve Meyer, Joshua Reynolds, and Wataru Masayama, the three other cars that we take care of. And that's a whole, I don't know, I want to say there's like 14 or 16 of us, something like that.
Wow.
Yep.
So we know that you've got a long career ahead of you, but what's next? What are you going to do after you stop drifting?
Okay.
That day will come one day.
Yeah, it will. Which way should we walk? Through the tires or around?
Let's go around.
Okay. That day will come, and kind of what I'm trying to set myself up for is a team owner. Not a driver.
Okay.
So I have 2 cars of my own that I could rent out and put people in if I wanted to.
Yep.
Or I can just continue to work with international drivers, bring them in and take care of them and run their cars. Some short-term goals is get another big rig. I got my first big rig this year.
Yeah, saw it. It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. That's new to me. Yeah. Matches the heat waves, absolutely. And kind of just get another semi and get some more crew, and then get another semi and get some more crew. And hopefully we have 3 rigs and 6 race teams traveling around the country, and I can sit back and run the program and enjoy that side of competition drifting, because right now I'm enjoying the driver's seat side of it.
You know, you just said in the country, but what about outside the country?
Right, for me, I'm a huge advocator that I want this to go international.
Absolutely.
Formula Drift did a World Championship for 2 years, and I was involved because that's what I want to be doing. I want to be traveling around. I think it's very tough right now, obviously, with what's going on in the world, but as well as because we just need more partners who are international partners. If you have an international partner, they're going to be pumped to bring you out, because if they sell oil in France, then it makes sense for you to come out and help them promote their, whatever it might be, right? So I think it's a long-term goal for me at Formula Drift, but also I'm incredibly appreciative of the platform that they have provided, because when I started drifting, when I just started Formula Drift, I was a broke 19-year-old with no direction, a box car, and big eyes that wanted to learn as much as possible. And then now we fast forward, 12 years later, and I'm pulled up into Formula Drift, Long Beach, the first round of the 22 season, and we have the biggest drift team in Formula Drift.
Yeah,
There's 4 of us, so
totally
it's kind of a proud moment for me.
Well done. I mean, for fans, I mean, they love seeing you go from the Nissan to the Corvette. Do you think you'll ever go back to JDM, or do you think you'll stay here with Muscle?
I think I feel at home.
Yeah?
American guy in an American car, driving in an American competition series. I'm okay with it for a while. And right now I'm really enjoying the Corvette, so no turning back as of right now.
All right.
No turning back.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about this track before we go?
This track is treacherous, and I mean, look, this is why. Look at right here.
Yeah.
These guys are literally moving K-walls so that it can be open back up for the normal street, and these cars are going to start driving on it. So there's always that to remember. Like, we view this as a racetrack, but we got to remember, this is a street circuit. Street circuits are very unforgiving.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? We can't wait to see what happens this weekend. So
Thank you.
All the best. And if you want to know more about Matt, check him out on the Throdle app, guys.
Thank you. Well, let's get right here and start. Let's do it.